Hey gang, closing in on the end of the season, and what a season it has been. But right now, we are still focused on what went down just a couple of weeks ago, and that was me and the LiveX crew up at the final round of the Farm Jam. That was round number 6. Really hope you guys enjoyed last week's show where we focused in on our juniors and our quads. We've been getting some really good hits and wonderful feedback, and I think you guys can see we were able to get out to some new points and really cover the action up close and personal. There were small gates on the juniors and the quads, but this week, focusing on the bikes, the biggest Farm Jam motorcycle entry ever. So check out the show, and we'll come in afterwards and tell you what else is happening on the rest of the season. Right now, time for the bikes at Farm Jam 6. Enjoy. With 5 rounds counted and scored, Farm Jam 6, the finale, rolled into play. Everyone out there for the final slice of cheese. An incredible new layout of track. Everyone was pumped and good to go.
You've been charging this year, and it seems to be Farm Jams where you really come to life. The short loop suits your style. How are you feeling about today at the final round?
I'm a bit nervous because it's the last one. It's going to be tough because you have to get points and yeah.
Carl, the weekend warrior classes for me at Farm Jam are the wildest ones. Sometimes we see 25 of you guys trying to nail it into the turn. What's it like being out there?
Exhilarating, yeah. The start is awesome. You know, it's one of my favorite parts of the race. But yeah, as long as you get out in the gates in a decent position, you should be good.
It seems like you really enjoyed the previous round where it got super technical and rocky, a little bit slower. But today, it sounds like it's going to be a fast 25k.
Yeah, fast is not my thing, but yeah, the rocks and those things are.
For the final Farm Jam, this is going to be an interesting one. A completely different hole shot to set up the track for the bikes. Leon, what are the guys looking out for?
Well, first off, I can't imagine that it's the end of the year and we're at the final Farm Jam. But for the two-wheelers today, I think they're going to have a nice ride. Also starting on the motocross track, we'll see some of the motocross guys come out in front, maybe take the hole shots for today. Track for them, same story, nice and fast and flowy, but not so technical as the last one. I think they're going to enjoy the day.
Leon, last time around a 24k technical loop. What's the flavour this time around and what's the numbers?
Yeah, we've gone with a 25k loop for them this time around. Nice open flowy, same story as the quads, open sections and technical sections in between. So I think that's going to test him today.
Predicted lap time?
Look, the fast guys always surprise us, but I think we're going to look at about a 20-22 minute lap time.
We're at the end of the season, and it's the saddest part of the year for me. But check out the track that we've got laid out for you today. It's going to be a motocross start, and apparently it's going to be a pinner of a track.
Yeah, definitely. So I've seen a little bit of what's going on now. I'm super stoked for that. That's going to be challenging, but we'll see how it turns out to be. So yeah.
Envia, the championship isn't quite done yet, and I heard you're not coming into this one in the best health, eh? Tell me the story.
Yeah, I had got some chicken pox about 2 weeks ago at the previous Farm Jam, and I didn't know about it. But feeling a bit better today and gonna take it on.
What do you think of the new start gate that I organised for you guys, eh? Very motocross.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be something else today, but from the start.
And then running the track backwards as well. It's definitely going to be a track which I think is your style. Much more flat out, wide open, less technical.
Yeah, so it's a bit more fast, so seeing what's going to happen today.
Wilco, great to have you back. You've done your dad duties now. Now it's time for you to go rip.
Yes, great event. We enjoy coming through here. We bring the whole family through. Nice family event. We have lots of fun. It's well organised, nice and safe, and it's a nice racing environment. So enjoy it.
From your side, you've been picking up the pace the whole way through. Feeling sexy coming out here on the Pro A gate.
Yeah, we'll give it a bash. We've got some youngsters here on the gate, so yeah, it's going to be good fun, eh?
Good fun for sure, and drama aplenty. Straight out into the motocross queue. Couple of catch berms. All the crowds were up close and personal for the final flag drop of the season. Pro A, man, as always, everyone is going to be chasing down on airtime vehicles. Over 13 of the top pros going out there. George De La Rosa, as always, so strong off the gate. And a surprise package. Tyrant Beverly coming out nice and early. Empia was going to be absolutely hanging as him and the Viking was going to be matched on pace on lap number 1. On the Pro Bs, the story of the season has been all about Low Pretorius, but it's also been about the 125s coming on strong. This time around, we had Björn Wenzel in the form of his life, and the welcome return to racing for Reinhard Kritzinger. No one was going to be able to call who was going to run in 1, 2, and 3. The seniors moved up in the starting order as well, and as always, the big 500, this time the 2020 version of the 500 of Ludebeek, Janssen van Buren, was going to try and run off the front with DJ Milan, Tony Kriep, and Van Heerden chasing him down. On the Blue Smokes, it's been Besadenhout the whole way through the championship tour, but in the final couple of rounds, it's been Little Cobus Pester on the 85, and now Elru van der Westhuizen moving up onto the 150, who out-hole shot and put Besadenhout down into number 3 spot. It's going to be a different running order. And then in the Masters, no turn up for Ian Fenter and no turn up on the line for the winningest master on the tour. That's Casper Pedersen. So all the rest of the Masters knew they had a chance to move on up in the order. Coming off round 6 gate. Next out was going to be our amateur A's. This time around, Peter Dalport was going to stand a good chance with just 6 of these riders going out. The majority of the field getting filled up by our weekend warriors. The amateur class was definitely going to be a nail-biter, and they, of all people, absolutely loved going straight out into the motocross track. We didn't get the overnight rain, but we did water the track, and that held things together nicely. In the Pro Bs, it was also going to be fun to see who was going to take it all the way to the line. 11 riders stacking themselves out there. Pre-race favourite was got to be Francois Van Heerden. He was going to be pushed hard on the day by Marius Leroux and Christian Potgieter. Weekend Warrior Gate was so big that we had to split it down the line into Weekend Warrior A's gave us a massive 28 rider contingent. So we had to send 14 out and then pick up the rest of the pieces. Everyone, though, was going to be chasing down on Gert Davis, Nick Wells and Frank Venter on the season. They have been the tastiest riders coming off this queue. But in the final round, when the tension is on and a massive gate like this, anything can and often does happen. Weekend Warrior Bs had a similar situation. 27 riders went out the queue. Kyle Davey was going to be a big threat, but Kyle didn't line himself up in the sweet spot, and he was going to have to come out of the second send-out queue on the Suzuki to try and get his way up there, which meant on lap number 1, Davey was going to be going out. He had to get a good hole shot. He came off the pin in the number 2 spot, and he had to get all the way past around about 20 riders to try and stand a chance to take over his championship points lead. Further down the queue into our 85s, and with a lot of our 85 two-smokers moving up into the big smoking category, there were going to be some new names on the page. 7 riders going out at it. This time around, Jean-Dre Bosch, Gerd Mayberg and Richard Webster, along with Language, we're going to see if they could be the best of the little wheels on the day. And then on the ladies' gate, we had 7 riders out of the queue. Annika Pedersen was a pre-race threat, but on the championship tour, it's been all about Roxy Nell. She has been the most consistent and improved rider on the tour. This time, Colin Niebuhr was going to be her nemesis in the early laps. All riders out on track, but what does Farm Jam mean to the everyman?
This is actually my 4th race now, and I've actually started, I had 5 hours on the bike ever, and I started Farm Jam, and this is my first season. So yeah, I'm actually progressing a bit more, so yeah, it's best thing ever to come do Farm Jam. It's nice, open, flat, technical parts. I just love it.
On track and on course and on the pipe, as always, Airtime Bierkes had seen clear air, but with a record number of bikes, that meant probably by the end of lap 1 and lap 2, he was definitely going to be in the traffic. He was trying to sprint away from a resurgent ride coming out of Tyrone Beverly. Watch out though, the Yamaha doesn't have the extender tank, and he was going to come into fuel strategy issues later on in the race. For now, the Viking, Kobus Jonk, not wanting to race out the seniors, wanting to push the pace in the pros this season to get himself back on pace, was running a 3 spot ahead of Envia Pretorius on the season. Envia is trying to nail down his championship, but coming in on not the best set of health as well. 4th place was going to be a very tough and tiring day. It was all about airtime since he's come back into play for the second half of the season, dominating as he danced and tiptoed with his beautiful smooth style around the Farm Jam track. In the Pro Bs, the story was 3 riders, separated by less than 30 seconds most of the way through the early morning running. Low Pretorius, Björn Wenzel Carl Branson, and then Valdo de Vet was also in the running early on. But unfortunately for him, at the end of lap number 4, he had his issues. For now, he was hanging tough, but later on in the race, he would actually fade out the back and only tag a number 7 finish. Out front, though, it was the man with all the plans for the championship. Lo Pretorius coming to grips with 250. On the seniors gate and also lining up as third gate meant that Ludovic Janssen van Vuren was standing himself a good chance to run his highest ever finish overall. He'd need to keep up the pace as well, as DJ Milan, now crossing over in the late part of the season to a KTM from his trusty Husqvarna, was happy to see what he could do. These two, though, were starting to stretch away from Tony Creer, as the rest of the riders struggled with the pace of our top seniors. Ludwig is looking for the perfect score on the season. Could he go with a clean score sheet and win every round of Farm Jam? On our smokers, the big story was, incredibly enough, in the early laps, Baby Bester had done what he set out to do, and that was to keep an 85 small wheel ahead of the 150s. There'd been a change up for second place on the track, though, as Besatenhout had started to climb the ladder and deliver on his pace. Unfortunately, Elru van der Westhuizen on the 150, unable to run the pace of our top runners, leaving Besatenhout, Bester and Nordia to get the job done. And in the Masters, the fact that our winningest master out there was not going to be a show. Petersen had left the gate open for the rest of the old dogs to show what they could do. Ernst Slabbert, Jurs Starsen, Connie Nell and Robin Krutzier were going to be the best of the big dogs. With 6 riders, it was always going to be desperate times for our top 3 to run the numbers. In the early laps, it looks like Peter Dalport had a stranglehold on the race as he stayed ahead of Dennis van der Merwe. But we were watching out in the early stages for Harder Spencer. He was looking in good form, certainly in the early laps of the event. They were on for a predicted 6 laps of racing. And for the amateur Bs, it was a little bit tighter at the top. 11 riders in the queue. And the whole shot was key. Marius Leroux had got the job done to stay out in the early running ahead of Christian Potgieter, but they were going to come under pressure later on in the race as Francois van Heerden was picking his way through traffic and slowly climbed the ladder to get to the front. Weekend Warrior A's was a wild one. 27 guys off the line, and Gert Davis pulled the most important hole shot of his life as he ran away off front. The rest of the guys didn't get the gate that they wanted. Jay Pretorius was battling hard so fast that he stretched his arms to the maximum to try and get the numbers done. For now, he was staying ahead of Arno Leroux. Gustav Pretorius had set himself up well. He was off the first of the split send-out queue for our Weekend Warrior B's number 2 spot, getting closed down by the overall race leader at this stage was Jacques Oosthuizen, but the comeback ride was coming from Carl Davey. Pro Minis was definitely going to see a new winner. 7 riders on the entry in the early running. Mono Kurtzer was doing a great job on laps 1 and 2. Unfortunately, he had some problems on his machine, setting him back. Gert Mayberg was in a 2 spot early on with Jean-Dre Bosch trying to do the close down. Kawasaki's were coming strong here in the Pro Mini 85s. And on the ladies' gate, Annika Petersen had managed to pop out on front, even though she had to get her elbows out to do it. She was going to try and stay out front ahead of the 2-horse race for second place on the road, and that was between Colin Niebuhr and Roxy Nell. Remember, Roxy came into this round as championship points leader, so just needed a top 3 finish to get the job done and take away the red plates. Back at the front of the main race with the laps ticking down, Airtime was all dominant. He'd been in traffic for the majority of the race, putting the lappers down 1 or 2 laps the whole way through and throwing in the hottest lap on lap number 1. Absolutely untouchable. Got his race strategy and fueling strategy all dialed in, and he was going to be the one to see the checkered flag first. Out on the road, the Viking had done an incredible job. In the mid part of the race, he got himself through on the Yamaha and was now up into a 2 spot, but he wasn't going to get onto the back wheel or see the dust of Airtime anytime soon. There'd been a change up for third place as well. Envia, fighting through all of his fatigue, had got through on the Yamaha of Tyrone Beverly. Beverly, unfortunately, we knew it was going to be a fueling strategy situation that would cause him issues, and it did, as he set off onto his final lap in a number 4 spot, with a resurgent Big Georgie De La Rosa setting off on a number 5. At the flag, though, it was all about Airtime. The second half of the championship has been all about this guy, and the return of the Viking, love to see him lining up with the pros. One day he's going to be able to walk away with a big overall win. For now, it was second and the most important ride of his championship in 2019. Envia Pretorius delivered third on the day to also cement his number 1 plate in the championship. This was how our top 6 broke down at the final event. Airtime on the top step, putting over 4 minutes into the Viking Yonk, ahead of Pretorius, Beverly, De La Rosa and Tehran.
Airtime, whether it's tech or high speed, you just seem to come to life at these farm jams, eh?
Yeah, it's my own place. I grew up here, so I'm comfortable, yeah. I don't think I will be as fast on a GXCC. But I'm comfortable, yeah, but it's quite fast today. It was rough.
Gave you a good challenge as well, that little hole shot there. You had to work for it though, you had your elbows out.
Yeah, it's better, yeah, it's more control there, and at bottom is too much dust. It's just too scary.
And the lap times as well. I mean, the last few races it was 4 because of the fire the previous round, it was 5 because of the lap times of the previous one, now it's 6. So it's a long day today.
Yeah, it's a long day, especially the track was rough today, so my arms are dead. But oh well, it's a good day.
Tell me how it feels to take the final win of Farm Jam and obviously go on holiday feeling good about 2020.
Yeah, it's a nice feeling. I just wish I could have rode the whole season, but yeah, well, next year.
Out of everyone, you've got to be pumped that that one is over. You look exhausted.
No, playing catch up the whole time. The dust didn't get the start I wanted to, but managed to pass a few bikes. And yeah, but the dust killed me.
Came down to fueling strategy as well. 4th place the whole way through the day until that last fuel stop. The Yamaha just didn't have the legs.
Yeah, I skipped the pit stop or didn't pit, so I think that helped. And yeah, the better I made it.
From one victorious to the next, we're going to see if the brothers could both walk away with their championships. The Class A's had already been wrapped up for the pros. Class B was all about Lope Pretorius. He's been battling to find his form, but the last couple of rounds certainly coming to life and enjoying his 250. This time able to stay ahead of Branson and Björn Wenzel. Those were duking it out for the 2s and 3s, and great to see Reiner Kritzinger finding his form once again as he ran off in a 4 spot to stay ahead of the biggest guy on the gate, Weinhard Gloy. Love to see him in a fight with the Viking one day. In the last rocks though, Lope Pretorius knew he'd done enough as our top 4 finishers stayed on the lead lap, tagging 6 all the way down from 1st to 4th place. That's on the lap count. Branson tagged his number 2 spot and Wenzel stayed in the number 3. This is how it broke down with a confirmation of our top 6 finishers though. Pretorius ahead of Branson, Wenzel, Kritzinger, Gloy and Jean-Jacques Tallier just squeaking a top 6.
On the first lap, I was like leading with 2 minutes, I think, and then I crashed down here in my brother's dust, and I was laying there and asking a dude to get the medics. I didn't think I would stand up again, but my breath came back and I just kept going, and thankfully on the last lap I caught Kyle and
I think you saw him in the pits as well, and you must have thought, how much have I got to give? Because this is going to be a last 20 minutes push, eh?
Dude, I'm like on him the whole time, and then I fall, and then he makes a gap again, and finally on the last lap I got it. I'm so happy.
Happy for the last win and also for the championship as well, because you fought tooth and nail. 2019's been a tough one for you.
Yeah, 2019 wasn't my best year, but happily I got the championship in the Farm Jam, so yeah. On the seniors gate, the story on the tour has been the unstoppable, untouchable, and to this point, unbeatable Ludwig Janssen van Vuren. On the seniors, he has been trying to stay ahead of DJ Milan. On the day, Tony Greff was looking good to set himself up for a 3 spot, going out on his final lap to stay ahead of Werner van Heerden and Dylan Liversedge. These guys were doing a stellar job, and actually the top 3 seniors did stay on the lead loop. In the end though, the now 2020 version of the KTM 500 was taken to its maiden victory. You'll get some new decals on that for next season and a big number 1 plate as Ludwig Janssen van Vuren took the win and confirmed his championship. On the day, Milan beat out Greff, Van Heerden, Liversedge and Roth, the top 6 seniors.
Look, the story of you and the story of 2019 and the big 500 has been the perfect score. I think you're the only dude on the tour to go unbeaten. It's got to feel good.
Yeah, I know, it feels good. Yes, this bike is super. It's my new 500 2020 from Rad KTM. I must tell you, as you can see, even the young guns couldn't keep up today, so managed to just keep in front of them. So yeah, it was hard work, but this thing is amazing, and it's perfect.
You were 3rd row. Tell me about those passes on laps 1 and 2 in the Pro Bs. Wild one.
It was vicious. It was. You cannot believe the dust we had to go in. So, you know, I had to go on the side of the road and check, and then see where the corner is, and open it up and brake late and try to get past in the corners. You can't pass on the straights really. So yeah, it was hectic. Only from lap 4, 5, and 6 was a bit clear air for me. Yeah.
Like we said, we came into this round praying for rain. It didn't happen, so the whole year this track has been whooped and chopped up. What's left of this track now?
Yeah, there's nothing left. I must say, on this big bike, it's hard work. The last lap, I thought, yeah, I'm gonna die. I must just keep it up because Lowe was on me like a gym suit. So I was like, I'm just throwing dust to keep him at bay. So yeah, just made it to the end. So yeah, it was perfect.
Two-stroke blue smoke on the season has been all about Bernard Bezuidenhout impressing a lot of people with his flat-out riding speed, but Cobus Bester was the fastest on lap 1. The pass for the lead happened on lap number 2. Third place was locked and loaded early on between Werner Nordia as he beat out on Elru van der Westhuizen, still trying to come to terms with his 150. And then, watch out for this guy, Luandre Bierkes. The Bierkes family know how to get the best out of smokers. For now though, at the final flag, it was Bez beating out on Bester and Nordia. Confirmation of the breakdown outside the top 3. Van der Westhuizen did bring home his 150 for the first time out in a number 4 spot ahead of Bierkes and Brutus. But the final win went to Bez. Elru, first time jumping up onto the smokers. Last time you were out on the 85, this time you end off the season on the 150. How'd you ride?
Yeah, I did really good, but I think I still need to get used to the bigger bike and stuff, but yeah, I feel good. I think I did it very well today.
I saw you getting a bit wild out there. Good hole shot, good numbers as well, but I know you like the rock, so maybe this track was a little bit fast for your styles.
Yeah, it was a little bit fast. I like more to ride on the rocks, but yeah, it was still okay.
Masters Gate looked like it was going to be the big guy on the top step. Ernst Slubbert has taken so many podiums, but the win looked like it was going to be his at round number 6. He was pushed hard though on the day by Djur Stassen. They all completed a 5-lap racing format, including eventual third place finisher Connie Nell, as he stayed ahead of Robin Krutzier and Mark Lightfoot. Top 5 giving us some classy race laps the whole way through the final event. But the last lap was a glory run for Ernst Slubbert, as he knew he had put the work in and eventually saw the flag. And it was his first big checkers and win of the 2019 Tour. Great job for Djur Stassen, as well as a confirmation of Connie Nell, Krotzier, Lightfoot and Fenter, eventually rounding out our slightly different looking top 6 for the Masters. On the team challenge by this stage, Baseford had taken something like 4 championships, and it was up to Peter Delport to try and bring them home another one. He was off the front and pushing on hard to stay ahead of Dennis van der Merwe. Carl Nell had found some improvement on his lap times as well, and he got himself up into 3rd place to try and challenge for some late race push and get his final trophy of the season. He was staying ahead of Hardus Fenter, who unfortunately had dropped out of the top 3 around about half race distance. The leader though was at the flag. Peter Delport had set the track on fire to take a 5-lap run, our top 5 completing a 5-lap race format. Confirmation of Delport winning ahead of van der Merwe, Nell, Fenter, Niebuhr and McIntosh. Amateur Bees was all about the whole shot in a stacked 11-rider gate. Maurice Leroux was not going to be caught. Francois van Heerden came good, but 2nd place was going to be as high as he would climb. Jan-Lou Bauer was doing a good job in the early laps, but he would eventually get closed down and forced down to 4th place, as number 5 was going to go to Gert Smith. On the last couple of laps though, it was all about Maurice Leroux bringing home the flag. Van Heerden got number 2 spot, and Christian Potgieter dropped the hammer hard to take the final podium position with a number 3 spot, beating out Bauer, Smith and Ackerman into the 4, 5 and 6. The Weekend Warrior classes were responsible for giving us our record motorbike entry, and a record rockstar start for Gert Davis had him running off the front ahead of Nick Wells and Frank Venter. Those were the guys duking it out the whole way through the event for the 1s, 2s and 3s, and they went on to complete a 5-lap racing format along with Leon Krotzier. Very good numbers coming out for our Weekend Warriors, and the eventual final win of the season confirmed going to Davis ahead of Wells, Venter, Krotzier, Leroux, and Jean van der Merwe squeaked his way inside of a top 6 on a stacked gate. Weekend Warrior Bees at the final round was a wild ride for this man, Carl Davey, ploughing the field all the way to the tippy top, staying ahead of Jason Lightfoot, as well as Jacques Oosthuizen and Michael Pretorius. Our top 6 in the Pro Bees also showed their class by making a full race distance of a 5-lapper. At the flag though, this is how close it was. Just 8 seconds separating Carl Davey. He took the final win ahead of Jason Lightfoot, Oosthuizen, Pretorius, Tenerero and De Beer was the top 6, but that is the closest finish we have seen on the tour for the Pro Bees. Congrats, Davey, on squeaking it. Nice to see the development of our Pro Minis. Remember, all of our 85cc juniors going out onto the main loop. Jandre Bosch was the best of them, and our top riders did go out for a 4-lap racing format. Number 2 on the road all day was Gert Mayberg, staying ahead of Reckard Webster, who had done double duties as well, racing the junior class and the senior race later on in the day. At the flag though, Jandre Bosch beat out the rest of his competition by nearly 5 minutes. Gert Mayberg was the best of the rest in the number 2 spot, ahead of Webster, Language, Blake, and Kutzer, our final finisher of our Pro Minis. And our ladies, 7 of them, took to the gate on the final round of Farm Jam. Annika Pieterse came into the event as the pre-race favourite, but the champion-elect was all about Roxy Nell. She was early on running in a 3-spot, eventually moving up into a 2-spot, and the fastest pace we've seen coming out of her, but she wasn't going to be able to get up to the back wheel of Annika Pieterse, but never say never. The gap is definitely closing. Pieterse and Nell walked away with 1 and 2, and unfortunately for Colin Niebuhr, not enough of these rocks for her. She's super quick in them as well. But on the flats, she lost a little bit of speed to the 1s and 2s. 3rd place at the final time of asking for Niebuhr. Pieterse took the final win, but it was Nell in 2nd that wrapped up the championship ahead of Niebuhr. 4th, 5th and 6th went to Caitlin Buerta, Chantal Koenig and Chang Koenig.
Annika, that was a wild one, and you had to fight for it straight out the gate. You looked like you had the whole shot, and then Carla got her elbows out.
Yeah, she was giving me a run for my money, but yeah, I got I think on the straight I catch her up, and I was falling, so I like skied on the rocks, so that was so fun. And the track today was so excited, like I really had enjoyed myself out there.
Roxy, it's been so cool watching you race this year because you got faster and better in every single round, and it seems like the last round, was your best one.
Ja, hierdie was definitief my beste reis gewees. Dankie aan meneer Bam wat my suspension vrygestel het voor die tyd. Baie stof. Ja, baie stof en dis baie lekker. Lekker flowing gewees.
And the competition, I mean, today you went into that first turn, you had Annika Pieterse, Colin Niebuhr and you guys ran almost the same lap times the whole way through today, so that shows your pace is right there.
Ja, dit is Annika en Carla is bietjie vinniger, so ek sukkel om by hulle te bly, maar ek probeer my bes.
But it's the end of Farm Jam, you've raced 6 rounds and you're going to walk away with the #1 plate. You are the champion. How does that feel?
I didn't expect it when I started racing here, so yeah, I'm happy about that.
And that was it for the final time of asking in 2019 for our Farm Jam Warriors. Thanks for racing with us. We'll be back once again in 2020 to bring you even more awesome racing action. For now, the final mic drop of 2019. See you guys later.
So that was it. Farm Jam done and dusted. 6 incredible rounds of championship racing up in Middelburg, and watch the space as well. Farm Jam ain't going nowhere. It's going to continue out into the future, and it really looks like it's going forward as well. They had a good resurgence this year as well. Small numbers on the quads, good numbers mostly on the juniors, and incredible numbers on the bicycles. So we're definitely looking forward to seeing them when they drop their 2020 calendar. Watch this space. Hollywood Hills should be able to bring you numbers pretty soon. We're just waiting on a couple of the national championships to get their dates in order, and then we can start filling up the queue. So what else went down this weekend? Well, for me, I was on the live mic for 2 days. That was rounds 5 and 6 of the National Championship Off-Road Series. And it was a nail-biter because coming into the final 2 rounds, not one of the championships was decided, just how we like it. But we'll review that show next week, so tune in for that as I get all of our photos and obviously introduce you to our national champions for 2020. There's some nuance, and there were a couple of big surprises in the weekend as well. But hang on to that for now, and we will bring you all that news on Hollywood Hills as we close out on the season. We want to end off by saying a big high five to one of our big supporters and our partners here at Hollywood Hills. Black Iron Racing, we've been telling you the guys have got something good and big happening for the future. They've been rocking and rolling their team, and we've been producing all of their videos, and we've got really close and personal with the guys. They're a wonderful crew, and not only that, they are in it for the future. They proved that this weekend by stepping up, and they are the new partners and the guys that will be looking after the future of GXCC for 2020. Watch the space as well. We're going to be bringing you a full media package and telling you how things are going to be running. From my point though, it looks like the GXCCs are going to continue as they are, and it's just going to be GXCCs now, powered by Black Iron Racing. So congrats to the GXCC crew, congrats and welcome to the GXCC family for Black Iron Racing. There'll be more to come on that news. For now, we'll sign off. Look forward to next week where we wrap up shop for the National Championship Off-Roads and look forward to what else is around the cards. As far as the rest of the season goes, there's only 1 or 2 events left on the queue. But don't worry, Hollywood Hills will be bringing you all of the background action, build up to the roof, tear down from the roof, and a look forward to 2020. For now, we're going to sign off with that. Stay tuned, guys. There's still plenty to come.